United States and the Constitution of the State of New York.
I do.
Repeat.
Oh, I don't want to be swearing.
You solemnly swear?
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of council member for the city of Watertown according to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the council member for the city of Watertown according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Councilman. I'll be signing your oath of office. Take your seat. That will change too next week.
Yeah.
So our seats are generally alphabetically, so you and Councilwoman Ruggiero will be swapping seats next week. Alrighty. So, staff reports. All right, budget release public hearing. I'm going to set up a public hearing for that. For operating budget 21 through 22 and capital budget 25 through 26.
Do you want those as separate motions or?
We can do them together.
I usually do them together.
Okay. Mayor, I move that we set a public hearing for Monday, May 3rd, 7:15 p.m. to hear public comment on fiscal year 2021-22 operating budgets, as well as fiscal year 2021-22 through 2025 and 26 capital budgets.
Second?
Moved and seconded to set a public hearing for operating budgets for fiscal year 2021 through 2022 and capital budget for 2021 through 22 through 26 capital budget. Is there any discussion about setting the public hearing? Call the question.
Councilmember Campbell?
Yes.
Councilmember Henry Wilkinson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaziani?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes. So we will be setting the budget will be coming out here soon. I think you guys printed them or getting to print them this week.
Yeah, we hope to get them to council members Friday.
Community Development Block Grant Consolidated Plan, 2021 Action Plan. Mr. Lumbus.
Yeah, I just wanted to write this quick report to let you know that we had finished our five-year consolidated plan as well as the annual action plan. That was finished on March 24th and followed the regulations that require us to advertise that in the Watertown Times and have a 30-day public comment period. We're in the middle of that public comment period now. This is the plan, a full copy of the plan. It's about 120 pages or so. If anyone would like a full copy, we can make one for you. It's also available online to review. And once the comment period is concluded, which will be in about a week or so, we will prepare a resolution formally adopting the plan for the next meeting. So just an update to let you know where we're at and let you know that we'll have that resolution for the next meeting.
And then the next item is the Community Development Block Grant, the CARES Act, the dollars that we received, and the council wishing to use a good portion of that for for-profit businesses that were negatively affected by COVID-19 and were shut down, especially the non-essential businesses. I was talking to Mr. Columbus last week about that. If we have an update, if you want to just go over that, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Berta. He's been doing a lot of the research and actually wrote the report, so I'll turn it over to him for a brief discussion and question.
Thank you, Mr. Lumbus. So, much like the previous report, we just wanted to make the council aware and give an update that we've been proceeding with this. I've looked into similar programs that have been established in both Auburn and Rochester. I've spoken with an economic development specialist in Rochester on multiple occasions who was involved with their program. I've also been in constant contact with the Watertown Local Development Corporation. I've spoken with Don Rutherford on a couple of occasions and had a couple of phone calls with him talking about how we would set up a similar program here. And the purpose of the memo was just sort of to update you on that progress and give you an idea of the kind of framework we were moving forward with, which is the focus of the body of the report. So I'd be happy to answer any specific questions that any of you might have based on the report.
Anybody have any questions? So this is, the city was awarded money under CARES Act. We used about $100,000 to give to 4 food pantries in the city, Salvation Army. We gave it to the school for the backpack program.
Did you get money to DPAO?
No, we haven't given money to DPAO. So we gave $100,000 in food banks through the city. We then were looking to give DPAO some dollars, but the council has elected to have a grant, or not a grant program upwards of $450,000 for for-profit businesses that were negatively affected. This is the start of that, and we'll be working with the Local Development Corp, which is our economic development arm, in administering them. If anybody has any questions, Mr. Irvin?
Yep. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions you don't think of now.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your work. Mr. Mills, I'm sure he's here somewhere. I'm good. Sales tax revenue, which is up and doing well, which is good. Hydro still below, but doing better. Mr. Mills?
Nothing further than what's in the report. As you said, sales tax is doing better than we anticipated, but hydro just isn't performing like it normally is.
And well, you're here. I did last week. I had some brief discussions with Mr. Mills. I think Mr. Mix a little bit about looking at the idea, not because I'm a spender or anything, but based on reality and concerns of potential inflation. I asked, and I think council needs to think about this. We have several aging, expensive vehicles in the fire department, fire engines. One is slated to be replaced in next year's capital budget. Presently, we're borrowing money, 2% or less.
Yeah, it should be around 1.75 to 2.
Yeah, so historic lows. Equipment is something that we need. Fire engines, turnout gear, respirators, those things are no doubt things that we need to. I've asked, because of concerns of potential inflation down the road, whether it would be wise to look at borrowing now or bonding now. That would be allowing for the bond, would lock in low interest, but we would not probably receive delivery of the vehicle for 18 to 24 months. So we wouldn't see bonding payments until after that. So it's something that I think that we need to consider. That would be smarter. If interest rates go up a few percentage points, you're going to have significant more cost. And like the truck we're replacing tonight in '86, I think most of those are at 20 years, those engine trucks. So, something just to think about. And I'm sure you're gonna give us a report, thoughts on that, not tonight, but
No, yeah, because it's too late for this borrowing, but we can borrow again later in the
It'd be in
fall or in
August, right?
July. So, and the rate should be still relatively low by then, so.
all right. Anything else on sales tax or anything? All right. Those are staff reports. I'm sorry, Mr. Spazzi, I'm gonna turn it over to you now. If you'd like to say anything or have any comments on.
A lot of comments, but I don't think I'll say
Move
them.
that
I
microphone.
have a lot of comments, so I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. You all know why I stepped up for this. My father always told me, don't complain so much before you step forward and start doing work. So I'm going to do the best I can. That means I'll obviously upset a few people because, as Lisa knows, I don't agree all the time, but that's the nature of the beast. That's me. And I'm looking forward to doing the best I can for the city of Watertown.
Well, one thing you can start with is getting back Spaziani's Pizza and bread. So you start there. How about that?
Department of Health will
Thank you, Councilman. New business.
Just one small thing. I know I unfortunately could not be here, or be here last week for the work session where we talked about spending the federal funding, but this is just a very minute thing that I thought might be nice to do, and I've had somebody comment on this to me, is signage when you're entering the city that is welcoming to the city of Watertown. Right now, at least I'm just thinking about when you're coming in from Outer Washington Street. I think that's a spot I'm thinking of where there's a sign there, but it's kind of falling down. It's not a very nice welcome to the city. So I think if it would be an allowable use, which I think maybe it would under the tourism portion of things, just something that welcomes people to the city at the main entrance points, that looks nice and gives people a good first impression. And that's all I have.
Sounds good. Councilman?
I like that idea. I feel like, I know we've talked about that in the context of, when we were talking about during the comprehensive plan and wayfinding, but I don't think the DRI money would pay for that because it's outside the downtown zone. You remember, Mr. Holmes? I thought we had discussed like entrance signs with folks from Elon. I just don't remember like under what context it was.
In the DRI, there is a project for wayfinding signage and branding for the downtown. And I think we're talking about signage, gateway signs at main entrance points to downtown. I don't recall the entrance signage to the city in the comprehensive plan, but it could be there. I just did not recall that. But there is funding for DRI funding for signage in downtown.
I guess the only thing I would add to that is trying to make sure that any like entrance signs are like thematically correspond to the wayfinding that's going to be done downtown, so it like creates a constant like artistic theme across the city. But I think it's a really good idea. We got one email from a gentleman about the Route 3 wave, and I know that I was texting everybody over the weekend. If whether or not that would be an allowable use for some of the federal funding, but I would support that. I think that's a good idea because I think it ticks off that like those boxes of like a one-time expense, but it's also one of those things that like we just keep pushing off. That we say, oh yeah, we'll pay for it when we have the money someday. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that.
I think I responded Friday. I was in Mr. Lumba's office on Friday when old signs were out from the competition. I think it was 2006, and we were having that very discussion on the Route 3 wave and hopefully getting back to events. Obviously, the question, and maybe you can tell the council, was not only the wave pole itself, but some rocks upstream and when they have to be taken out at very low water levels. But
Yeah, you pretty much got it. That we had removed rocks from the the hole or the crevice in the river that created the wave that was so popular with kayakers and allowed that spot to become the site for those championships back 15 years ago. But debris, rocks, concrete from the old dam upstream shifted and moved in and filled in that hole, and the wave pretty much went away. We removed it at least for 2 occasions, and then we kind of just gave up after that, and it wasn't an interest to continue to remove it, because we really just addressed the one that was in the hole at the time, and really, we talked to some kayakers since then, and they suggested that, take a little bit larger look at things, and the particular guy I spoke with did some flew a drone that he had over the area during very low water to see a number of rocks just upstream from the Route 3 wave area that if you were to remove what's in there now, those would probably likely just eventually work their way down and get in there. So you have to look at it, look at the bigger picture, maybe move some of the upstream debris to make sure that, and I wouldn't guarantee it, but at least maybe buy you extra time before something else might be in there. So, and of course, like you said, you have to do that during low water. Summertime would be ideal time to do something like that.
Council's interested, we'd have to get some pricing on that first. See what that cost would be.
I'm interested.
And what
Yeah.
the next thoughts?
Could Mr. Delaney give us an update for our next meeting on what's going on with the Court Street resurfacing project, or the Court Street Bridge resurfacing project? So last year, weren't they working on they had to find where all the right-of-ways were, and then that was the last thing we heard about it.
Yeah, that's a pass-through project that's being done by DOT, and the last I heard was that there's sort of stuck on right-of-way issues. Unless things have changed, right-of-way are usually taken care of through the DOT's Albany office, but yeah, we need to update for that.
Okay. And similar with Mr. Delaney as well, like I was talking to the mayor before the meeting about possible like earmarking of money from the federal funding for roads, and what is a good amount of money that we should be looking at? Because we could appropriate a bunch of money, but there's no guarantee that there's going to be enough contractors to fulfill the work that we want. I mean, we were talking about like 3 to 4 million, if not more.
Above what we normally do. So we normally use, we usually spend about $700,000-800,000 depending on CHIPS funding, and then looking to add to that over the next 3-4 years, another $1.5 million a year, so you have $4.5 million for mill and fill. There's plenty of streets that we can do. Again, the trouble will be is contractors.
Yeah, that's what I've got written down from our work session was at least another $1 million a year for 3 years.
Additionally, we're still, and I'm waiting to hear about on guidance that we can use it for those projects. I'm hoping the Treasury comes out with that infrastructure, those projects being allowable use, like any energy efficient things. That's what we're hoping for.
And lastly, just welcome to our new colleague. You're going to do this fun here.
I have 2 hearing aids, and the acoustic here isn't the best.
I'll speak up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all for me.
All right. Any new business?
Oh, that's right. You're
Senior person.
No, we go around the.
Well, I've got a lot of questions, but I think I'll be out of place to ask them right tonight. Is on the $23 million of
Yeah, I'll go over that with you, and we'll get you with Mr. Mix and bring you up to speed on a lot of issues too.
we've had an update at all from our mobility manager in terms of where we're at with the funding for the expansion of the routes and, you know, where all that is? And I know that they were looking at wanting to make the connection to St. Lawrence County, and other parts of Jefferson County. So I just wondered if we know where they're at in terms of getting closer maybe to that.
Yeah, we get an update for that. I don't have any real answers to that,
Okay,
but, I know they're working on some things.
okay. And then I know I had contacted or emailed you this morning about the city website.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for letting us know, because until somebody, especially on weekends, until somebody tells us that it's out, and I was checking it, and it seems to be a recurring event recently. Today's took a lot less time to get back up than the one did over the weekend, 2 weekends ago, so.
Yeah, and these people waited until today to contact me, and one was trying to pay their water bill online and couldn't, and then they were concerned about if it wasn't fixed today, what would happen if they couldn't pay it on time. And then the next thing I know, I got a call back and they said, oh, it's up and running, so they were fine. And then I know a few realtor friends contacted me and said, hey, we can't look up the property taxes because there were a few new listings over the weekend, and they contacted me today, and I said, I wish you contacted me over the weekend, because maybe, you know, we might have had it, you know, somebody could look at it sooner, but, yeah, so I don't, do we know why it's happening?
I didn't talk to David about today, but, things that have something to do with the security scanning we do, it seems to coincide with that, the last couple had. It's an old website too, and, they're working diligently on getting the new one up, so hopefully we won't have these problems anymore when that gets up.
There you go. And then one last thing, I think everybody probably saw the story in the paper about this woman who unexpectedly was giving birth instead of having a C-section, and the fire department responded a week ago Friday, and Greg French in the fire department delivered the baby right then and there on their living room floor, and the grandmother, Colleen Calhoun, had contacted me to say, you know, how happy they were with the fire department and how courteous everybody was, and that they weren't sure what would have happened if they weren't there, because apparently it was happening sooner rather than later. And so they named their daughter a French name, and the grandmother had asked about how to recognize Greg French. And I said, well, you already did, because the name is it's a French name. So I know that Greg French was there, Pat Lyon, and Eric Houselton, and I understand, I think I heard that they all said they were just doing their job, but it was a nice story for a change, a good story with a